What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything you need to know about and what's going on here in our country, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and a stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. In this video, we're going to talk about an announcement here for Social Security, SSI, SSDI, that has come out here for a Social Security group here on for everybody under Social Security going forward here, and regarding inflation. We're also going to be talking about retirement and retirement funds. I've been getting a lot of questions here regarding that. We'll go over some thoughts on that regarding a lot of different things that are going on here right now. It's been a crazy last couple weeks here with inflation, with the stock market, and how things have been. Yeah, I know it's been very, very volatile, and a lot of people are really kind of panicky right now. Really kind of panicky. So we'll dive into that here as well. So let's jump right in. We got a lot to talk about here. Here we go. So really a lot of different things to talk about here. The new inflation, the main inflation number that kind of everybody is really looking at here that came in for April, really just came in yesterday, is 8.3%. But there's really several different inflation numbers to look at. And remember, the March number was 8.5%. Okay. So some people are saying, well, has inflation peaked? Has inflation gone down? Well, it's really a matter of opinion. For the most part, I would say that inflation's really about the same, which is really still at or around a 40-year high, a 40-year high. And that's because gas had slightly waned a little bit in April, but now gas is actually at an all-time high. Gas has spiked up here in the last week or so. In fact, right now, gas and regular gasoline, 87 unleaded, and diesel is at an all-time high, even though oil is not. Oil is not. Oil is still about 30% below its all-time high that we hit back in around March. It's 30% below that, yet gas is at an all-time high, which makes no sense at all. The only sense we can make of this is that the oil companies, BP, Shell, and Exxon, are just charging us whatever they want, because the oil prices are not at all-time highs. But so, yeah, so that has happened since April. So really, gas prices have gone up since then in May. So inflation, at least in gas prices, have spiked up even way more since then. So we could be seeing inflation even higher now. And we're seeing other types of inflation like this. You can see this headline here. Actually, today, wholesale inflation rose 11% in April as producer prices keep accelerating. Producer prices at the wholesale level rose 11% over the past year and 0.5% in April alone, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported on Thursday. Yeah, so here's the thing, is that we have multiple different types of inflation. And all this is kind of pointing to what the Senior Citizens League has just kind of come out with here today. That could mean going forward here that the cost of living increase for Social Security might mean the biggest raise for seniors or everybody on Social Security, and everybody on the Social Security umbrella: SSI, SSDI, VA benefits, RRB, survivors, everybody underneath the Social Security umbrella. So when we say Social Security, we just kind of mean everybody underneath all those different benefits there. And here's what the Senior Citizens League came out with here as their announcement here today. Check this out. There's another considerable increase in the cost of living allowance COLA. COLA stands for cost of living adjustment for 2023. After the 5.9% jump in 2022, which was one of the largest we've had in decades, but now seems paltry compared to what we might get here in a few months. Could be even 50% more than that. I'll show you here in a second. A new report from the Senior Citizens League indicates that the 2023 COLA increase will take the record for the highest increase since 1981, which was when I was born, actually. I'm 41 years old. Yeah. So that's how long it's been since inflation has been this high. The soaring inflation and the data gathered by the Senior Citizens League suggests that the Social Security beneficiaries will see an 8.6% increase in 2023. Wow. And if you really think about what 5.9% here was last year in 2022, bust out the calculator here, 5.9%, half of that, we'll divide that by 2.95%, 50% of that, plus 5.9 would be 8.85%. So that would be, if we got 8.6%, that would be almost a 50% increase versus the 5.9% of last year. That's how much of an increase 8.6% would be, almost 50% more than the 5.9% last year. Yeah, that's a lot. That's how much it would be. The soaring inflation and data gathered by the Senior Citizens League suggests that Social Security beneficiaries would see an 8.6% increase in 2023 based on data they have gathered here so far this year. According to the Social Security Administration, more than 60 million seniors will see a rise in their retirement benefits. Yeah. In 2022, millions of Social Security beneficiaries saw a $92 increase in their Social Security benefits and supplemental security benefits. This is based on the average amount. This is based on the average amount. Of course, we know not everybody gets the average amount of Social Security benefits. Some people get more, some people get less. That's based on the average amount, because the average amount here, you can see here the average amount of Social Security benefits in January 2022 was $1,614 per month, or $19,370 per year. Yeah. So some people think that's a lot. Some people think that's a little. It really depends on everybody, but about $19,000 per year. So yeah. So remember, Social Security is not designed to be a full income, because remember, when we look at that, we look at the average wage right now. According to the latest data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average mean wage for the full-time wage or salary worker in the U.S. is $53,490 per year, or $1,028 per week for a 40-hour work week. Yeah, so if we take that here and we take 53,490, this is for a salary worker or full-time wage worker. So I don't know if that's necessarily a hourly worker here. Let me see here. 50, or I need to do it here this way. 1,028 divided by 40 hours a week. That would mean they're making $25 an hour. $25 an hour. So remember, a lot of states have a $15 an hour minimum wage that is going into effect, or going into effect here shortly. $15 an hour minimum wage. Minimum wage. But remember, this is the average wage. We know that some people make more than the average, some people make a lot more than the average, and a lot of places are hiring. I mean, we'd look at articles like this. Here's a recent announcement here that says Walmart announced pay bumps nationwide that will bring its average hourly wage to $15 an hour. That means that some people still make less than that, some people make more than that, but this is their average hourly wage at Walmarts across the nation. And remember, this is Walmart, so this isn't like a corporate job or necessarily like the best job. This is just Walmart, right? One of the largest, actually the largest private employer here in the U.S. Okay, um, but you can go to Walmart and just make $15 an hour here as their average hourly wage. So, but the average wage across the U.S. is $25 an hour. So it kind of gives you an idea here. But for Social Security, the average person makes about 19,370 a year, just under 20,000 a year. But remember, Social Security was designed to be supplemental. Supplemental. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, it has grown to be um, their main source of income, their main source of income. And that's why a lot of people struggle here. But if this increase goes through here at what's the Senior Citizens League suggests an 8.6% increase here based on the current rate of inflation and the data they've suggested, that for 2023, the average person making that average amount would see an increase of $143 a month. That's based on the average amount of the person getting that $19,000 a year. Of course, if you make more, you would get more. If you make less, you would get less. It's based on this average amount that they've calculated of 8.6%. You can just figure out 8.6% based on the amount that you get currently. Okay. But they're saying that the average person, based on that average amount, of course, there's not a lot of people that get that exact amount. But you can see here, right here in this article, would increase $143. In total, seniors and retired workers, the average amount would have a monthly check closer to $1,800 a month. $1,800 a month. Now, this would help out a lot with the current inflationary problem, which it's a worldwide problem. It's not just here in the U.S. If you've been following my channel, inflation is at an all-time high. Well, I'm sorry, not an all-time high, at a 30 or 40-year high. Pretty much almost everywhere in the world. Canada, the United States, Europe, Australia, China, almost everywhere. Same thing with gas prices, same thing with food prices. In fact, food prices are at an all-time high. So, and gas prices actually. So gas prices and food prices are at an all-time high. Inflation is not at an all-time high, anywhere from 30 to 40-year highs, depending on the country. So we have seen inflation higher in the past. Inflation's actually been in double digits in the past. In fact, some countries actually have inflation as high as 70%, not 7 or 8%, 70%. Could you even imagine? And really, kind of all this turmoil and the war in Russia and the threat of nuclear war has really taken a toll on the stock market, and people's retirement funds. Because remember, a lot of people don't have pensions nowadays. A lot of people have 401ks and retirement money in the form of a 401k in the stock market. And the stock market has just been getting absolutely just crushed here recently. Absolutely just crushed. And I'm here to tell you that this is completely normal. I know it never feels normal when the stock market is getting completely crushed. Here's the Dow Jones Index, which is kind of an index that a lot of people follow. Here's a 1 month chart. Um, a month ago, the Dow Jones Index was at 34,400. Now it's at 31,500. And a year ago, here's a 1 year chart. So a year ago it was at 34,000. Now it's at 31,700. So we are below 1 year, a 1 year mark. So what this kind of means here is that we're down about over 10% as a year ago. But what this really means is that, think about this, is that we're really a little bit below where we were a year ago. The sky is not falling that much. When we look at a 5 year chart here, here's where we are compared to 5 years ago. And I think this will bring peace of mind to a lot of people here. In fact, when we look at what happened when the pandemic hit, that was a much, much further drop. In fact, look, here's where we are right now with this drop right here. When you look at these type of drops that happen in the stock market, this happens pretty frequently. Pretty frequently. If anything, as an investor, this is a great time to buy if you're buying long term. If you want to sell right now, you're probably not cut out for the stock market, because you're going to sell low and lock in your losses, and this is just this is why people lose in the stock market. Okay, if this is your 401k, if this is your retirement fund, um, generally this is not the time to sell. If this is your retirement fund, if this is money that you're keeping for retirement, I mean, yeah, if you need a little bit of money to live on, if this is just your normal withdrawals, by all means go ahead and take out your normal withdrawals, because you need, money to live on. But if you're thinking about selling everything, you have to just look at, a 5 year chart here. When we look at a max chart here, this is a 30-year chart. Look at the 30-year chart here, okay, of the Dow Jones Index, okay? This will kind of give you a perspective here. 30 years ago, the Dow Jones was at 3,200. Now it's at almost 32,000. It's gone up 10 times. So your money would have 10x'd, okay? Um, really, your money went up 10 times. So if you had $10,000 in a 401k, now it's worth $100,000. Where if you had your money just sitting in a savings account, it would have been worth pretty much the same amount. It would have, earned 1%, or, nothing in a savings account. This is why people put money in a 401k. This is the modern day pension. Okay. My dad had a pension, and they took money out of his paycheck every week and put it in a pension, and it invested in the stock market. So a 401k is the modern day pension. You have to resist wanting to sell it every time you hear bad news. In fact, when we look at, here's a Vanguard 500 index, which is basically the top 500. It's the S&P 500 basically. When we look at the chart here, this is where everybody is like, oh, the world is falling. Everybody sell, everybody panic, right? Well, realistically, when we look at the returns here in 2021, this is why we're having a little bit of a correction here, realistically. Last year, the stock market returned 28%, 28% plus. Okay. The year before that, in 2020, the stock market made 18%. The year before that, it made 31%. So over the last 3 years, we made 31%, 18%, 28%. And now year to date, we're at negative 17%. So really, we're just giving a little bit back of the gains of what we made last year. I mean, you just got to kind of look at this in perspective. Every single year is not a gain. Every single year is not a gain. If you think that, you're just not being realistic. You're just not being realistic. In fact, you can look here. In 2018, we had a negative 4.4% year. In 2015, we only made 1% in the S&P 500, which is a great index to follow. Okay, it's the top 500 companies in the U.S. It's a great index to kind of gauge on how the economy is doing, how the stock market's doing, how your retirement fund is doing. Okay, and the last 3 years, one underneath Biden, 2021 was Biden's first year. Two underneath Trump, 2019 and 2020, which ironically were pandemic years, or at least 2020 and 2021 were. The stock market did phenomenal, ironically, even though we had that drop, as you can see here. Here's the massive drop, but the stimulus packages made it recover so quickly, so quickly. As you can see here, here's the massive drop. Everybody panicked. I actually panicked too because the country was closing down. But the thing is the stimulus packages made it recover so quickly. The government basically said, we're gonna have the businesses and bailout, back. We're gonna have the businesses back. Everybody's back. That's what I'm trying to say here. They had the Paycheck Protection Program. They had unemployment benefits. They passed out 3 stimulus checks. They had all these different programs, and we had not ever seen that before. We had not ever seen that before. And really, if you look at how quickly the stock market corrected, it was really phenomenal to see a correction that fast when we had seen a drop so fast because the country shut down. The country shut down, and we had not ever seen that before in recent times. I mean, maybe we go back to the Spanish flu in 1918, which none of us were alive, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And then look where we are. We're at all-time highs. Just here recently, the stock market had hit all-time highs. Corrections like this are normal, and great historically. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Nobody can tell what's going to happen in the future. But historically, times like this are great times to buy. Really, you're just buying at where we were a year ago. When you just look at where we are here at this little bump, you're buying at where you were a year ago. So if you're contributing to a 401k, you're contributing to your retirement fund, you're just basically able to buy right now at where the stock market was a year ago. So you kind of think about that. 56% of adult Americans have money in the stock market because of pensions, because of 401ks, because pensions don't really exist anymore. The 401k do. And pensions that do exist put money in the stock market. It's pretty much the same thing. But if you feel the urge to constantly sell every time this happens, we have a 10% drop, a 15% drop. 10% drops, a correction in the market, happen kind of frequently. I think they happen around once a year or so. And every time they happen, everybody says, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And that's when the average investor wants to sell. And this is where people lose their shirts because they say, oh my God, I got to get out. I got to cut my losses. And the people that are just have been through this before, they just stay in there. Or if anything, they buy more. Or if you're contributing a little bit out of your paycheck every week, this is great times to buy. You're buying low and you're selling high. Or really, you're not selling anything. You're selling when you need it in retirement. So I hope that makes sense. Or at least that's my strategy. Everybody's different out there. You could be in a completely different phase of your life, and hope that makes sense. But in general, you don't want to sell low and buy high. See, a few months ago, when the stock market was at all-time high, everybody was like, buy now, it's going to the moon. And now everybody is like, the stock market is crashing, sell, get out while you can. That's the reverse thinking. The only kind of asterisk I want to put there, here's my little asterisk I'm drawing, is the whole threat of nuclear war with Putin. That is a severe threat there because it really does kind of have me a little scared. See me scratching my head literally? I'm scratching my head literally because if Putin does drop nuclear war, nuclear bombs, even just in Ukraine, that's going to be terrible, terrible, terrible for everything, for the stock market and everything. If he drops a nuclear bomb in Ukraine alone, look out below. So we don't want to have a nuclear war anywhere, anywhere. And remember that 56% or more, based on recent data, of Americans have money in the stock market. But the problem is you can't just take your money out, and because the problem is if you don't, I see so many young people and middle-aged people and people that the problem is if you go through your whole life and work, you're working in your 20s, you're working in your 30s, working in your 40s, working in your 50s, working in your 60s. If you don't put money away in your 401k or in your retirement fund, if you work your whole life and you only put away in Social Security, the problem is that you'll only have Social Security, and I think that we've all kind of grown to know that Social Security is very minimal. Is very minimal. You can see here the average Social Security is only 19,000 a year, and a lot of people make less than that. A lot of people make less than that. Social Security is just not enough to live on for a lot of people. So that's why you've got to. And in fact, my father-in-law, which is Laurel's father, he's an accountant. He's actually taught me a lot about investing over the year. He actually said, "Here's some good advice for your viewers." He said he started off by putting only 2% of his paycheck away, 2% of his paycheck, and his advice was, it says nobody will miss 2% of your paycheck. In fact, when you take 2% of your paycheck away, the amount that they'll take out of your paycheck is so small you won't even miss it. Okay, that's the amount that you'll spend on like sodas at the grocery store or a few dollars in lottery, and you'll actually pay less taxes because any money you put in your 401k is pre-tax money. It's actually a write-off for you. So any money you put in your 401k is it's the easiest way to say it's a tax write-off for you, so you pay less taxes. Okay, so think about that. You put the money in your 401k, it goes towards your retirement. It'll grow over time. Okay, just think about this money. It's just going to grow. You're going to put in there, put it in every paycheck. It grows, it grows, it grows. Okay, and you pay less taxes. So every paycheck you're going to pay less taxes, less taxes, less taxes. Grows, 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 less taxes, less taxes. It's a double win. And if your company does do a 401k match, you're getting free money. It's like getting an extra raise. You got to do this because if you don't, you're going to be left with only Social Security, and it's just not enough. It's just not enough. And in fact, I'm thankful that I got this advice. I'm giving this advice to all my viewers because if you never hear this advice, you can't say that nobody ever told you this. In fact, I've said this a couple times before on my channel, and I've had a lot of people say, "Jimmy, I wish I had your channel 20 years ago. I wish I had somebody telling me this a long time ago." Yeah, so at least I'm here telling you it now, and hopefully you can tell your children, your grandchildren, your anybody you know, you can share this video with them because it's very helpful advice. Even if you save just a little bit out of every paycheck, you got to do it because it will grow to a lot of money. Start small. Let it sit. Don't take the money out. Just keep investing it. Let it grow for years and years and years, and it will end up being a lot of money by the time you retire. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I'll keep you up to date here with everything you need to know about on a daily basis. And we'll cover things like this here in the future. I did a recent thing about credit card debt, paying it off with the snowball effect. In fact, I'll link that video here, right here. I'll find that video and link it right here. Watch that video, really good video here as well. So yeah, click on that video next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe down below also if you haven't yet. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.